The meeting is live now. Morning, Travis. Good morning.
Right. Okay.
Oh, girl. You know, I can't keep up with you.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Now, Jenna, I need you to send this to the folks, but let me get this right. Janelle, I need you to send this to them. Do you have the old email message that I sent out with all the items? There are 2 new things they should get.
Good morning.
Good morning, friend. Good morning, you all.
Before I forget. You know, the stuff that language says, in public school or.
An accredited public school, accredited public school.
Accredited, but I don't know this whole virtual academy. So that's not something that.
Yeah, let me go to Mike because we're on. I would say get it in writing because we'll have to check the type of school. But I know Maggie can't use it if she can't use it for the licensure route, right? So if somebody's just doing it in the school division and then you know how you can get a provisional license and you can work for a year. If you have a provisional license, they cannot use virtual to meet that requirement. So I'm pretty sure we're not gonna be able to use it.
If she doesn't, if she's already committed to this virtual option, these virtual options. Can we get her? Yes. If we love that, since we have a top of that. She's originally the one, so it's like, well, how do you like to do that? I know.
You sort of see some people.
Oh, yeah. Get started just a minute. I think we're live. I think I'm doing it. We're doing quite a bit this morning with technology. Explain, we had some staff who go back to the office and I could not go back. So I'm doing documentation. So let's see if my house will try to help you. Not that you can. So, but just be careful about what we say. I think I'm on mute now, yeah. And then your microphone. So let's see. The microphone, or maybe comments, make sure we're sitting next to the microphone. We got one there. Is there another one, Jonathan? One there. You can help us on that one. The microphone. Everyone sign in on the attendance sheet. Don't forget that. Okay. Should I talk about other announcements too? All right, unfortunately, like I said, we had some changes. I was asked to come back to the office, so Matt is gone. And we have probably, I'm going to describe it as we're going to share these two items, but we were asked not to vote on the item, but for what's on the tables this morning. But we have a new item that was going to be shared to add on our PowerPoint, I'm putting that in front of you, the hard copy, and then I'll have it present high level. We're not gonna vote on it. And presenter for the legislative update was also summoned this morning to. I will do the best I can there, and so. So I apologize. I know we had this meeting specifically. Here for the evening. Yes, that's fine. Make sure you sign into this. We have attendance. The front row is not signed. Okay. I think I'm okay. I'm going to take us off mute. We are recording.
Welcome to our April advisory board for teacher education and licensure meeting. It's nice to see everybody. We will go ahead and move on to our opening remarks. We have got the first thing on our agenda is for us to go ahead and introduce everybody so that we can take attendance. You also need to make sure that you have signed the sign-in sheet. I am Nancy Bradley, and I serve as the citizen at large, and I am from Virginia Tech. I'm the Associate Director for the Office of Academic Programs.
Good morning, Peggy Schimler. I represent higher ed private institutions, and I'm from Randolph College in Lynchburg, Virginia. I'm the Director of Education. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Gross. I serve as the parent liaison. I'm a past president of Virginia PTA. I'm from Richmond City, where both of my kids attended RPS.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Jones. I'm an agricultural education teacher and FFA advisor at Tunstall High School, representing Region 6 Career and Technical Education.
Good morning, my name is Andy Cox. I'm the Director of Teacher Ed at the University of Virginia's College at Wise, and I represent public higher education. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Steve Whitten. I teach at Mecklenburg Middle School. I teach 6th grade language arts, and I represent Region 8 Middle School.
I'm Janine Connolly. I teach 4th grade at Potomac Elementary in King George County, and I represent the elementary teachers in Region 3.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Moffa. I'm Assistant Professor of Education at Washington University and represent private higher ed.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Adrian Bradley Gray. I am a teacher representative for District N. I'm a 3rd grade teacher in Suffolk Public Schools.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Travis Burns. I'm the principal of Northumberland High School, and I'm also the president of the Virginia Association of Secondary School Principals.
I am Mary McIntyre. I am a middle school teacher from Albemarle County.
Right, we'll now have Jones team introduce themselves.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson, Assistant Superintendent, Teacher Ed and Licensure. John L. Torwood, Director of Teacher Education. And our guests for today.
Hello, Kelly Crawford, Evaluation Systems Group of Pearson.
And Jerry would do the same. Thank you.
Good morning, Joel Andrews with Kemper Consulting on behalf of ETS, amongst others.
And welcome. We included within the information that was sent out to you as a part of this meeting as you received the agenda. We will need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Oh, as amended, I apologize. There have been some changes to it, so it's on, you're actually given a paper copy. So as amended, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Okay, we've had a first and a second. We now will go on to approval of the minutes. Also, as a part of your packet, you received your minutes from the March 6th meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? With no changes, we need a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved, Eric Moffett.
Second, Peggy Schindler.
Okay, thank you. And we will now move on to public comment. Is there anyone here in person to provide public comment? See anybody? We do not have any written public comment, and so we will move forward at this time. The next item on our agenda is advisory board member recognition. And the first person we get to recognize is Dr. Travis Burns. And Travis has actually been on ABTEL for nearly 3 terms. He filled an unexpired term. And so he started on ABTEL in July of 14 and has been here for a long time. Comes from North Cumberland High School in Region 3. And we want to thank him for his service and for the time and effort that he has put into being a part of this board.
I too want to thank you on behalf of the department for your service and continued support of all of our efforts here at the Commonwealth, especially those feedback and comments and your engagement with your colleagues in terms of administrators and principals. So again, thank you so much on our behalf as well. And come to the podium, please. Nancy, can you come to? All right, let's see if this works. Okay, it's not working. It's a little bit. Thank you so much on behalf of the department as well as our ABTEL membership. Thank you so much.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity, and you all certainly do great work, and I wish you all the best as you move forward. So thank you.
Hello again, everybody. This is Andy Cox from EVA WISE, and I just want to take just a minute or two and recognize Nancy Bradley as a huge part of this board for several years. But before I get into that, I just want to say is that we all have these opportunities to serve, whether or not it's in an educational form, whether or not it's PTAs or school ball fields. It doesn't make any difference. We always have the opportunity to serve. And what is amazing about it in education, there are more opportunities to serve than probably anywhere else. And they do not carry recognition. They do not carry compensation. They don't carry anything other than just a lot of extra work and dedication and the hope that wonderful things are going to come from your efforts. And over the past few years, I have worked very closely with Nancy, and she has done an amazing job in multiple boards because we also serve on another board. And it is truly a calling because I see the work that she puts into getting things ready and making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and it's just truly amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you to Nancy for her wonderful service here, and let her and Travis know that their efforts and what they're doing is not going unnoticed. And what we really look forward to is continuing on that kind of hard work that they put in. So thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Vice Chair, and Dr. Fox as well. And again, on behalf of the department and for all that you do across the Commonwealth, especially to this board, I want to give you red flowers and roses now. That's kind of flowers right there. Thank you. Might have anything to say?
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's already been 6 years that have gone by with I came on this board right before the pandemic, and then we had online meetings, and then back to in-person meetings. We just had a lot in the last 6 years, but I always come back to this board. It's just such a strong board. The representation from across the state is just, to me, really powerful, that we have principals, we have PTA people, we have got, teachers from classroom. I really think it is an amazing board, and just wonderful, wonderful conversations we've had. And I really thank you for being a part of this with me. And on that note, now we're going to move on to our presentation on the critical shortage area designations by Ms. John L. Torber. Good morning, everyone.
The Appropriation Act requires that the Virginia Department of Education to report annually to the General Assembly on the critical shortage teaching areas of Virginia. In response to this requirement, data were obtained from the Positions and Exits collection, which is a different report that we're using. This is the second year that we're using this particular report, sent by the DOE to each Virginia schools division superintendents in October 2022. To determine the qualifications for teachers and administrators. Information requested on this survey was based on school data reports of October 1, 2022. These data were used to determine the 2023-2024 shortage area endorsement areas in Virginia. The ranking is based on the aggregation of the following: total number of instructional personnel positions plus unfilled positions, and teaching positions that are filled by teachers who are licensed but who are not teaching in academic subject areas other than the area of preparation. That analysis included calculated rankings in these two areas as of October 2021. And if you could go next, Dr. Johnson. And the purpose of this report is to provide the prescribed methodologies for determining the critical shortage area, which are those two different areas. Those two different, the total number of instructional personnel and the teaching positions that are filled by the teachers that are not, who are licensed. And the top critical shortage areas for the 2023-2024 designation are special education, elementary education, K-6, middle education, grades 6 through 8, critical and technical education, science secondary, mathematics, grades 6 through 12, including Algebra 1, and English secondary. This report is just for information only. The critical shortage areas have already been reported to the U.S. Department of Education for designation. Any questions?
Just emphasize the two ways. Just emphasize that.
Now, last year we had elementary education was first, and now special. It's interesting that this just kind of flip-flop. Yeah. And again, remember that this year the method of collection was different that we used from the previous year. So the data, and that might be the part of the reason why this switch has been made, because the collection was different. So moving forward, we'll be using the positions and exit survey in order to collect the data for this particular report. I'm always interested with the middle education grades because, our elementary licensure goes up to 6th grade, then our high school licensure is 6 to 12. So is it people who don't have a 6 to 8 grade endorsement, or is it that they are teaching outside of their, like, I'm just curious about the middle school piece.
That don't have that endorsement.
Right, okay.
That are teaching in 6th grade 6 through 8.
Okay,
So you might have individuals that are teaching, but they might not be licensed
In
that
middle
law,
school.
And that's.
So you're licensed up through sixth grade, but you're teaching seventh grade. Yeah, I'm just trying, because it always kind of, I'm like, what do they, it's just one of the ones that I always.
Or you could have elementary and you could be teaching in a 6th or 7th grade. Right.
But elementary licensure goes through sixth grade.
Correct,
so
but let's say
that's-
7, let's say 7.
Yeah, that's what I. All right, any other questions or comments?
Well, and Nancy, something that you just kind of brought up on middle education, wonder of those, what the ranking is for, is it math and science, what?
So that's interesting. We can look at that. We have the data.
Okay. The question was, is that for number 3, the middle education grades, is there one subject area that may be more at a shortage area than other areas? But it's interesting when they have that data.
Mhm.
And then the same for CTE. My information is. And the same for CTE. My inclination says it's going to be tech education, it's going to be at the top. And then maybe family and consumer sciences, and then the list goes on. But because it's so many areas,
Correct.
what is the composition?
Yeah. So based on my memories, we lump them because there's so many and so few in certain categories. So anything that has the designation of CTE is lumped into that one, but we have data if you're interested, or if others are interested in looking at which ones rank high in that group. And I would agree, probably the technology. I don't remember. You may have looked at it close, but yeah, we lump them all.
Yeah, I agree. As I've seen career and technical education move up and shorted, and same with middle school, it always makes me wonder, what is the area that we're looking at? So I think that would be important to consider.
I had a question. So if you are, because I'm elementary ed, so I mean, I can teach up to 6th grade, but if you enter in, if I chose to teach middle school 6 through 8, do I need to have that certificate in order to teach in middle school 6th grade? Because, if I decide to teach social studies 6th grade, do I need that certification? Or as an elementary teacher certified through 6th, I'm okay to teach that. I'm
You're
confused.
fine. No, you're fine. For elementary, if you have an elementary,
Okay,
but if you teach 7th grade,
okay. And so the secondary, so let's say I'm secondary certified history, I can still teach 7th or 6th through 12, correct?
Okay.
But I don't necessarily need that middle education certification to do that
Correct.
because I'm certified. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going with my question. Like I thought, where are these numbers coming from?
Right.
So, yeah, okay. All right. We will now move on to our agenda items. Am I on the right?
well,
Okay, the one has been.
I'm gonna do it. I'll do my best. I'll do
Okay.
the presentation.
So you're moving on to item 2? Is that
The presentation. I'll do the presentation.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
So Janelle, have you been able to send that around yet? Okay, so check your emails. Unfortunately, Melissa was called away. Unfortunately, Melissa was called away this morning, and so I have her presentation. I have the list of legislation that is pending, 5 of which the governor has made amendments to. And so I think they will reconvene on the 21st or later this month to finalize all of the bills that you see before you. And I probably won't go through each one, but at least you have them, and the hyperlinks, I think there are hyperlinks to each one, correct? Does anyone not have it? And I'll just probably just high level a few items that are there. If you're patient with me. Thanks, Janelle. Okay. So again, was also planning to introduce you all to Melissa and the policy and communications team as well. And so Melissa is really the main point of contact with all legislators, secretary's office, as well as any constituents, and leads our department in terms of policy changes, modifications, aligns with the board, etc. And so hopefully in the spring, or fall now. She will be able to return to us when we are full as well. And so you'll see there the 14 pages. So this year, in terms of legislation that related to education high level, so some of which could be teacher ed and licensure. And I don't think she broke it into categories. Sometimes they break it into categories. And I'm looking on the screen. Do you all have more? Okay.
I'm trying to answer you, but they're not correcting.
Okay. So let me see, what other options do we have? Let's see, just a high level. Let's see, Janelle sent something. Let's see if that looks better than. Bless you. So by September, she will group them, I think. But again, this is everything that relates to education as well as specifics on teacher ed and licensure. And so again, I'm not going to go through everything. You see references there for support for special education, for public school K-12 items there related to literacy. And you see those that will be amended with the highlight from the governor's recommendation there and the link to that revision. Usually ours are at the end. I'll see if I can skip through quite a bit there for early childhood. Amendment there for the children of certain foreign service employees from the governor, still pending. Provisional teacher license still pending from the governor's recommendation. This is, Maggie referenced this, I think, in one of our updates, but the focus here is to allow a little bit of a change in what is required if, in fact, the individual has been working on a provisional license, and this provides a little more flexibility for them to satisfy performance evaluations. And line 22 is being modified from enrolled after employed, insert, and received a file performance evaluation. The change is going to be around, it used to say 3 years, and so now it's just going to indicate filed a performance evaluation. But again, we'll go into more detail once that is approved. That is still pending. We've got some things there for higher ed. Again, teacher ed and licensure advisory board, and that was the one we've referenced. And we see that one also is highlighted for governor's amendment. At the beginning, striking enrolled, so just a few tweaks of words there. And for which, and insert received. So we'll come back and take a look at that again. No major content changes, just some tweaking, some technical language there. More focus on the literacy components there. Let's see. Virginia retirement work is there. We've highlighted that previously, that will support hiring without the 12-month gap. So again, it won't go through all of those, but you have those that you can unpack with a hyperlink for more review. So no voting, obviously, on this. This was informational only, and she was going to just provide some more in-depth discussion around those items. But again, we'll hear from her in September. I think that's all. Thank you. Just a minute, let me log out of this. Thank you. So Nancy's, I think it's you for the next item as well. So this was left on your table, I think, as well as Janelle said that electronically this morning. So just as we heard last month, several items that were going before the board as notice of intended regulatory action. And so we are beginning that process by sharing that with this group and getting your feedback, et cetera. Reminding you that it is very high level and it's really a notice that this is coming so that the policy team and legislators can begin to be notified that we are working on the revisions. And this one specifically relates to early childhood, and we believe working with our specialists supports the executive directive 3 in terms of reducing the barriers to access for high need area teachers. And so if you see in front of you, again, this will impact both the approved program regulations as well as the licensure regulations. And it is specifically to create a special ed early childhood add-on endorsement. As you can see from the item, currently, the regulations provide 2 options for individuals to satisfy requirements to earn the special ed early childhood birth through age 5 endorsement. The first option is for them to complete a full approved program. And the second is based on the licensure regs, which state that if an individual already has a bachelor's degree, completed a major in early childhood special ed, or 27 semester graduate hours in early childhood, and with 1 course in a 9 prescribed areas. So the regs give specific areas there. So those are the 2 existing ways. And so what we have found, and what you all are probably more aware, is that that would be very challenging for an individual that may have an elementary specific notice. This is targeted to only elementary endorsements of those individuals to be able to add on the early childhood. And it has been quite cumbersome and a challenge for individuals. And so this particular proposal suggests that, as you can see from the bottom of that page, that we want to create a pathway for licensed elementary teachers to add the endorsement to their existing license to provide instructional services for students with disabilities birth age through 5. Specifically, the goal there is to change the regulations to increase the number of licensed and endorsed teachers to meet the needs of young students with disabilities, while honoring the education and expertise of active elementary licensed teachers who want the additional skills and knowledge to increase inclusion of those students in regular classroom settings. Ultimately, again, this proposal will amend the licensure regulations for school personnel and the regulations governing the review and approval of education programs in Virginia by creating an add-on endorsement for early childhood education for existing license holders. As we have mentioned, this proposal this proposal will begin with the Board of Education approving a NOR. The NOR is simply the notice to the APA and does not require the proposed amendments to be submitted at the same time. And so you will hear more detail about specifically this, as well as the other 4 that you all reviewed last month, in the coming fall, as the team works with specialists to outline specifics of what will be included in those new add-ons and other endorsement changes that are forthcoming. Stakeholders, ABTEL, and the Board of Education will have ample opportunities to review, discuss, and amend the recommendations that come before the applying bodies. And again, we're hoping that today the board will make a recommendation. And so as a reminder, this is one of the items that I was asked for us not to vote on today, but wanted to move forward with presenting it so you would have the information and know that it is being reviewed and discussed. So any questions? And my tech person is texting me. Any questions? Again, I provided a high level overview of the agenda item that is proposing a NORA, which is really notifying that we're going to begin the administrative process to change the regulations, and that the details of that add-on will be brought to this board in the fall.
So we're not voting today. We will vote.
So it can go to board, but we are not voting today, just as a quick summary. Any questions about the item or content or concerns related?
The next thing on our agenda is our liaison reports. Do we have a report from the Virginia Community College System?
Yes, we do. Hold on. Give me a minute. Sorry. Oh, Nancy. Oh. Oh my God. All right, sorry. Here's my
Those of you watching online will be with you in a moment. Just finding the report from
Dan Lewis.
Dan Lewis,
the Director of Academic Programs and Policy for the
And I don't.
Virginia Community College System.
Thank you for your patience. Dan was unable to be with us today, and we will be sharing this for the minutes as well. As you all remember, Dan provides an update on the Educate Virginia Career Searcher program during each of these meetings. And the Educate Virginia Career Searcher program is entering its 13th week of their 18-week semester with 59 candidates across the state. They're currently completing their week-long practical placement in 22 different school divisions and will wrap up their semester on May 20th. Several have already reported contract offers for the 23-24 academic year. Additionally, there are 82 first-year teachers who are completing their level 2 requirements and will be eligible for the 10-year renewable license at the end of this first year of full-time teaching. The application window for fall opens in April for new members of Educate Virginia Career Searcher program. During March, 20 teachers from 10 divisions participated in ESOL Praxis Prep workshops in Woodbridge, and several have already reported taking and passing the ESOL Praxis assessment. This workshop will be offered again in the fall and again would be open and available to those around the Commonwealth. ESL New Teacher Academy will be offered for the 3rd time this year in Loudoun County as well. Seats are open for any teacher who has been working with the English language learner in the past 3 years. The event will be held over 3 days in a face-to-face setting on June 27th, 28th, and 29th. Seats are limited, but there are a few remaining. And he did provide a flyer for that if anyone is in a division that would be interested in sharing that with your colleagues for that extra prep. So thank you, Dan, for that update.
Do we have an update from the State Council of Higher Education, Michelle? No update?
No update.
All right, so then we go back to Joan for Virginia Department of Education updates. Let's take a break a minute.
All right, thank you. Let me get some water. So again, thank you. I wanted to provide an update in progress. You received a document from our Pearson friends. Let me find the document that was sent in the original email to all members. So as you remember, we have requested and discussed opportunities for accommodations for the VCLA. As we think through the regeneration, new assessment, that discussion, we know that will take some time. So this group has agreed and we have moved forward with continuing to work with them on accommodations. And so what you received is a manual that outlines what they normally would be doing for individuals with disabilities. And so this document would be revised and that word disabilities would be removed. And we would be focusing and allowing those with disability as well as if in fact you had the documentation for ESL to also take advantage of these same accommodations. So I think it's 3 categories. I've had my expert in our shop, special ed, look at them, seems to be very comparable with what's used for individuals with disabilities. And we talked a little bit about what documentation would be required. And basically either a faculty member or an individual could provide documentation. I don't think there's anything else. Again, this is not to be shared outside of this group. It is a draft and we were just bringing it before you to bring you progress, one. And that once this group kind of checks off, I will communicate that we are active and ready to go live. We also discussed with them making it more publicly accessible by putting it on the website, on the VCLA website, that accommodations are available. And also they would send out to test site coordinators this availability, and our shop, Janelle's office, would send out to all the APPs and the divisions in our eGov updates that accommodations would be available for VCLA until such other tests is discussed or presented. Any other questions about that?
What is the timeline for VCLA? Like, when do we have to decide what we're going to do moving forward?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, okay. So we're a little overdue. Okay, all right, just double checking on that. All right, do you have any other updates?
So yes, of course. So that very question, again, Pearson is working with our office on providing a proposal for ABTEL, probably obviously in September or October, depending on our timelines. But again, they will craft something based on either other states' assessments or either recommending some combination of our VCLA in combination with some of those other state assessments. So again, addressing those same content areas, especially high level literacy, the reading, the writing components that this group has talked about before, but they will be presenting us a proposal for making either regeneration or considering other tests that are being currently used across the nation, or some combination of all of those things. Any questions about that piece? So, and that will just be the beginning, we know, right? So that once they give us a proposal, that will just be the beginning. Thus, we thought that we should move forward with accommodations because it could be another year or longer before we actually get that actual assessment to the board to even be approved. Right. So again, we'll use ABTEL to talk through any of the recommendations. The subcommittees will, really dig into those. We may have some other stakeholder groups involved with reviewing the items, etc. So I don't know if you were here before, and if you were here when we did the first VCLA, involved quite a bit of time, quite a few stakeholders, teachers, educators, university faculty, etc. in that process. Yes, question.
Will there be additional costs for modifications?
They're shaking their heads, no cost. It will come along with their fees that they pay for the assessment. I think there's, if you notice, there's some requirements for timing, though, like they have to make the request in advance, and it depends on the site, the capabilities to make those accommodations, which makes sense. But again, just wanted to give you an opportunity to take a look at those accommodations. Is there anything else that you have had other experiences with other assessments that you think we should add here, or is there anything missing? Or we're just glad that we have some accommodations. Okay. All right, thank you. Next, just an update. We will have probably at least 9 new members when we reconvene in September. We've lost these 2, and we are going to be sending out the nominations requests through the boards, seeking and soliciting nominations. So making you aware that should be coming out in the next month through SOUP's memos. And so I will send this group the email so that you can tell your friends and family, so you can plan your trips to Richmond together. But again, we will be really, almost half of the board will be new. starting in September. So looking forward to that and hoping that you all that are leaving can pass on your legacies to various constituents that you now represent. Wanted to make you aware of that. Specifically in terms of board items, the recommendation for new programs is going to be reviewed this month on the consent agenda, meaning pretty much they're going to move forward with that based on the approval of the first review. There were the several NORAs that will be going forward to them that you all recommended approval of. Those were going again in April. And also just added will be one of the I teach items. And so I don't think that's public. It's in draft now, being discussed this morning, actually. And so you may want to take a look if you're interested in looking at those. I want to say there are at least 16 school divisions. Again, our liaison is unable to be here, but Ann had wanted this group to be made aware of the progress with those alternate route programs. And so there are about 16 school divisions that are pursuing this opportunity for professional studies through I Teach or elementary or middle. So again, it's being discussed today, but it will be on the April, if you see it approved, it will be on the April board's agenda. And there will continue to be some dialogue and discussion because that will be first review. So remember, the board receives everything on first review. Then at the next meeting, that's when they actually do the final voting. So if you're interested, take a look at the April board item for that. And also just to give you some updates on the VLA, I'm sorry, and I shared with you on your table, we've taken some time to break apart the pieces of VLA that will go into effect school year 24-25. And so, as you all know, it will take 12 to 18 months for some of these things to be implemented and to go through the administrative process, just like we're doing now. And so this chart is just a little internal document that my team is using as we kind of pull out the pieces that are all required for VLA. And so you have it, I think, you don't have it on your table? Nobody?
It's a
Okay, sorry. And again, thank you for your patience. This is again, just to bring this to your attention. We're not voting on this. But again, especially if you're working in these areas, you'll hear more about this. The focus primarily with the VLA has been implementation for K-12. As you know, many of you, there are webinars, training that's occurring in the school divisions now for reading specialists. And so our department takes on the second part of that as it's implemented, really, I want to say, to higher ed and the alignment with our alternate as well as approved program. And so just high level here, you see that the assessments for all endorsements, 5 that are covered in VLA, we have addressed already with this board's help and the Board of Education. So remember that the VLA impacts reading specialist, elementary pre-K through 3, elementary pre-K through 6, special ed general, special ed visually impaired, and special ed hearing. So just a reminder for this group. And so because of those 5 areas, you see there, we pulled out the emphasis for reading specialists on the additional dyslexia components that will be aligned, will be required, as well as the micro-credential piece that we are in discussions, development with now that will lead to a provisional. The understanding is that this was supposed to be a bridge or a gap to increase the number of people that would be available for employment in 24-25. And again, giving them time, I think 5 years, so it's more than the traditional amount of time to actually achieve the other remaining requirements for reading specialists. Again, that will be a first for our state to have these 2 micro-credentials in reading specialists and computer science. So our department is working with Virtual Virginia on that. Then you also see the actual add-on that will need to be developed, and then the regulations across all the endorsements that I mentioned will be reviewed by various stakeholders to come up with some drafts for any additions, amendments to the existing regulation language
for both licensure and the approved programs to ensure that DLA science of reading, evidence-based teaching of reading is incorporated in our regulations. And then there's a component, thank you for turning that over with me. There's a component there of convening a group. So that will probably occur this summer. There is already an advisory for implementation of VLA. We may use that same group with some additional folks that may or may not be represented on that group, or we may convene our own standalone of educators, universities, folks, Virginia literacy groups, some of the literacy experts and associations. So that will occur this summer before they come up with a draft that this group will see around some of those alignments with those endorsements. And then the audit, that was also part of it. And so that will be only the approved program side of the house. And so as you all know, typically what that means is that once it's effective in 24, 25, you'll be notified of what potentially a guidance document outline could be written, hopefully co-authored with many of the universities and literacy groups. And then after that implementation component, you will have 2 years. As you know, we usually use that traditionally for the universities to align their programs. And then when you have your next accreditation visit, we will be looking not only for those accountability 8 measures that we look for, as well as now the alignment with the DLA for your 5 or 6 endorsement programs. So just high level, we just kind of pulled it out in this format for us just to give us some guidance. And it's linked there to the code that highlights that. So again, not for a vote, just information, and then you too feel free to take that back to your constituents and start thinking about any questions, opportunities for engagement, and stay tuned for emails from John L. Shop regarding engagement from this group as well as university or other associations as we bring the stakeholders together this summer to try to get some draft language, some guidance documents created. Any questions about that?
So you said they're also looking to do micro-credentialing for computer science.
Oh, that's already in the law. That's correct. So that,
Okay.
there are actually people already enrolled. So that bill passed, I want to say in 19, in computer science. So there are actually already people enrolled in computer science courses based on the competencies developed. I don't know if it's ASCD who offers that, but a vendor offers that, and it's offered through Virtual Virginia. And so my staff will be moving the regulatory process forward so that individuals that can be linked to their license. So that will be the first time that is happening in the Commonwealth for computer science and reading specialists.
Okay, thank you. Any other announcements or comments for discussion by our group?
Yeah, Dr. Johnson.
Did you say the superintendent's memo for replacing or soliciting nominations will go out this summer?
Probably in the next month, actually.
Next month,
It will go
okay.
out next month.
All right, and is it still practice to make sure that you have a representative board, like a superintendent, principal,
Yes.
teacher?
Yes, that is in the code for this body. It actually designates the different designations. And so when the nominations are solicited, it will actually say a principal for secondary or higher ed public or higher ed, or what else do we have? Teachers, elementary, special ed, CTE. So it actually specifies what role the individual will need to fill.
Is the superintendent slot still vacant?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Another area of interest that might have a little update on is I know that there's legislation moving through to expand the role of this group to include teacher retention. Is that correct?
So that's in
Right.
That's in the bill that you see
Right.
today. That's correct.
So how do you see that changing what we do?
Yeah.
Or you do, since I.
We're still unpacking that. I think it will just mean that our efforts will be more we'll share more with you. We do have at least one staff member that is her main role. Dr. Homer, who I think many of you have met, will be coming to do more presentations and soliciting, I guess, more information from this board about that. I think it's kind of been an ad hoc, and it's obviously we're being asked to do more, especially with the executive director 3. And so I will be open for this group to help us unpack what that could look like. I think it was just a way to make it an intentional component of our discussions, even though we have been doing it kind of ad hoc, but I think it means just that it's an intentional focus.
Okay. All right, I believe that's all we have other than our standing committee meetings. So if there's nothing else, we can adjourn. And then do you want us just to come back, Joe, maybe a little earlier for the standing committee meetings?
I'm just looking at all my notes, just to make sure I've covered everything. Okay, Lord. So, yes, but I mean, I guess we can open up for any announcements or any other discussion since we're getting out early now.
Any other announcements or discussion items?
And you saw the next meeting is in September. So everyone has the meeting dates, I guess the other thing. Just the meeting dates. The first meeting is in September. I don't have it with me. But we'll send that out with the minutes as part of the announcement, so you can get those on your calendars. But I think we've sent that out. It's been in the notes, but I would have probably tried to remind you of those things if I wasn't doing 8 jobs today. Any other comments or questions? And again, thank you for your patience today as our agenda and staff got switched around a little bit, but again, appreciate you all being here today. And we can have a celebratory lunch for Nancy and Travis today.
The next meeting is September 19th.
Thank you, Danielle.
Wait a minute.
September.
That's not right, sorry.
Where she's confirming for 23 September. 18. And thank you. So I know you're going to be having your friends and family now all planned to see you on that date. So again, Nancy, thank you for all that you've done. I really appreciate working with you. So thank you.
Okay, so what we could do is maybe just adjourn and then come back together, or we could get like a little snack or something, and then we can come back together for our standing committee meetings for the licensure committee and the teacher education committee. And so we'll come back together in 15 minutes. So, all right. Thank you.
We need the motion.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Janelle, can you give me Eric
Eric
and Janelle Conley? All right, and we thank our guests for being here with us as well today. Thank you. We always appreciate Pearson and our friends from ETS Consulting. All right, I think that's it. Thank you all. Have a
Thank
great
you.
summer. All right, let me see if I can end this now. Okay, you know, we made. Yep, thank you. Lord.
No, I'm not saying. Oh, yeah, that's what Christine said. Yeah. Right. That's what that was. There's snacks out here, so I figured something snacks. Yes.
As you know, I'm still get the email. I think I should turn that on. Yeah, the live stream. No, I mean, like email. So live stream is gone.
You know, it's still recording, it's still live.
But the recording is gone. I don't see how you do stop. Oh.
I guess you gotta exit out.